It's the Capitals that have prevailed on the night against Sunrisers Hyderabad in qualify number 2. The difference in the end, 3 hits, 17 is all that the margin of victory remains for Shreyas Iyer's side. So the Sunrisers, they put in a heck of a fight. They didn't give up even after David Warner's early dismissal. And but for Kane Williamson and Abdul Samad falling in at a crucial moment towards the end, who knows? We could have had an even more interesting game to talk about. Still was a good game. So let's look back at it with Tom Moody and Sanjay Manjrekar on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Tom, for the Sunrisers' point of view, it almost felt like that David Warner wicket made us all feel, this is now Delhi's game sooner or later. But boy, they took it close, didn't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt when Warner did go early that it would have been nearly impossible, that chase. But I was really impressed with the way they persevered throughout that chase, and particularly impressed, although I'm always impressed with Kane Williamson, but I was particularly impressed with Samad, the way that he batted. And I think the Sunrisers in India have found he's a bit like a baby Yusuf Pathan, isn't he? Coming in at number 6 and power the ball out the ground. So he's certainly one to nurture. But that partnership was definitely on track and was looking threatening at one stage. And it was just nice that, that they showed that solidarity throughout that middle of that innings to at least give themselves a half a chance.
An interesting one, isn't it, Sanjay? Because you thought Delhi would feel a sense of relief with that hitting towards the end with Samad and Williamson in a bowling attack, which for all practical purposes had 2 seamers and Marcus Stoinis and a few spinners that you weren't quite sure how much they're going to bowl.
Yeah, but can we really be honest? Because you said when David Warner got out and you were thinking, this is the match gone for Sunrisers Hyderabad. This tells you about the potential of Sunrisers Hyderabad chasing 190. That if you're thinking of one player as being the key player, then you're doubting the team's batting ability to chase down a target like 190. There was obviously Kane Williamson alongside, but Saha wasn't there. There wasn't a Bairstow in there. So once Manish Pandey and David Warner got in, I thought the match was out of their hands. And again, the Kane Williamson show. I mean, it's incredible that this guy has, become such a good T20 player. Good to see the striking ability of Abdul Samad, but this is a situation where, you've got the license to hit and the match was running away from you. So it was the perfect scenario for somebody who's been taken in the side to spank the ball. But once they lost Manish Pandey, who continues to bat at number 3, much to my chagrin, as they say, I thought the match was done then. It was good that they came so close. But for me, the match was done the moment Manish Pandey and David Warner were gone.
Before I go to our points of review, maybe Tom could just extend on the point Sanjay makes. It is still an impression of this very impressive side, though, Tom, that if they're chasing a big score, they need David Warner to fire. They've not been in a position to chase a big score very often, and this red-hot streak towards the end of the tournament has coincided with slow pitches and 150, 160 sort of games, which you think suit the Sunrisers. But as you look back at what is another very respectable season for the Sunrisers, do you think that still ails them, an over-dependence on Warner?
I think you could argue that case for a lot of teams. Once their superstar batsman departs early, it seems to be, a tougher task. Now, that's stating the obvious, but I think that's the case with a lot of teams when you do lose a key player. I think the only team that probably is the exception to that is Mumbai Indians, because they have just got an overwhelming amount of depth of quality and experience. But I think the Sunrisers actually stacked up a little bit better this season with regards to the quality of their top 6 or 7. I think the inclusion of Jason Holder was a real find for them, not only as the bowler, but I thought his contribution with the bat down at number 6 and number 7, I think he probably came in a fraction too early tonight, but down at number 6, number 7 was good. Priyam Garg looks like he's going to be a good player, and Abdul Samad to me looks like a really exciting player. So there's a lot to like about what's happening there. I think the dilemma they've always had over recent times is the combination of Warner, Williamson and Bairstow. They just can't fit them in the same 11 because they need the all-rounder to play.
All right. Well, they do bow out of this tournament. We're going to have a more detailed Sunrisers review for you. That'll be up on the site. But let's look back at this game. And it is the night of the Delhi Capitals, and credit to them. A lot of us might have felt like the momentum was with Sunrisers. More boxes were ticked for the Sunrisers. So perhaps to some degree against the run of play, they've managed to pull out this result. So let's get into our review. And let's start, Sanjay, with two decisions that were taken even before a ball was bowled. Delhi's decision to bat first and that call to send Marcus Stoinis out.
Yes, we said before the match began as well that they don't have so many bowling issues. Their problem is their batting of, batsmen with potential, not firing. And the only way that could change and still to make the best use of the batting talent that they had, we had to rejig the batting order. And finally, that happened with Stoinis opening. I thought Stoinis's launch on the opposition bowler, starting with Jason Holder, really set the mood for Delhi Capitals. And then Shikhar Dhawan, who's played superbly, albeit not every game. It was another terrific inning. And then finally, the icing on the cake was Shimron Hetmyer. So once they changed that batting order around, and the important thing to note here, Ronak, is that Hetmyer came ahead of Rishabh Pant. So finally, the penny has dropped for Delhi Capitals, and you go for form and not so much for people who have done something special in the past. And they actually won the game today because they batted to their potential. And this is where they're slightly different from Sunrisers Hyderabad, that they had potentially 4 or 5 devastating batsmen, which Sunrisers Hyderabad don't have. They have more dependable players. So if the range was about 165 to chase or something, they would have done it. 190, the batsmen took the game away from Sunrisers Hyderabad a little. And come the pressure games, runs on the board, there's always a little bit of a pressure for chasing sides.
Yeah, that start that Stoinis gave them, you think it went a long way in settling the nerves of a batting side that was severely below confidence, Tom?
Yeah, without a doubt. They got off to a very, very good start. Stoinis was very good. I think Shikhar Dhawan was also good, particularly when the left arm spin of Patel came into the power play, and he immediately pressed the trigger and hit him with the spin over
Nadeem.
Oh, Nadeem, sorry. What am I saying? Yeah. The left arm spin of Nadeem over mid-wicket for 6. I just thought that was, again, showing great leadership, great initiative, because that is the matchup that he has to stand up and deliver, and he did it. And it just pushes that power play performance with that pair further away than what Sunrisers would have wished it to be.
Ronak, let's dwell on Sunrisers Hyderabad, as in I wanted them to win, to be honest, because they deserve to get into the finals a lot more than Delhi Capitals have. But if today that hasn't happened, there's always some good cricketing reason and some specifics that didn't go their way. Let's not forget, catches dropped. And that one of Stoinis, had that been taken, just imagine what kind of an impact that would have had. There were a couple of catches dropped in the deep. There was a Natarajan who gave 4 instead of a dot ball. So the fielding fell apart a little bit. The other thing is no 6 bowler. At least Delhi Capitals have something to go to. That's why they might actually challenge Mumbai Indians a little more, because they have the confidence now. Plus, they have options if things go wrong. Shahbaz Nadeem bowled 4 overs. That's 24 balls, out of which 16 were to left-handers. So they had to keep bowling him because they didn't have a 6 bowler to go to. Natarajan was expensive. Shahbaz Nadeem was expensive. Jason Holder was expensive. So their main plan just fell apart, and they didn't have a plan B quickly to take care of things.
All right, if you have touched upon that, maybe we'll discuss that for a bit, Tom. The lack of a 6 bowling option today for a bowling unit that's been so self-sufficient within these sets of bowlers for the last few games. Did it hurt them today?
Yeah, well, I thought that they could have bowled Abdul Samad, to be honest with you. If they wanted to take a little bit of pressure away, and I thought that was probably a missed opportunity, whether it be straight after a strategic timeout or, which tends to be quite a good time to sneak an over in. He's not the worst, and it just takes the pressure off that one bowler that might not be having, a good day out. And it just makes it a lot easier from a captain's point of view. So I was a little bit surprised we didn't see him bowl an over or 2. So I think they've got that 6th bowler, but they probably didn't press the trigger on it like they should have.
Right, fair enough. Let's go to another significant point now. In Shikhar Dhawan now, we're very much within touching distance of KL Rahul. 67 is still a good score behind, but 600 plus runs, Tom Moody. And what's been in some way a remarkable year for Dhawan. He seems to have transformed his T20 batting in spite of 4 ducks. He's right up there in the list of the highest run getters. And like we have established, he's done that at a strike rate of 145, and he did it today when his team needed it most.
Yeah, look, it's been an outstanding season for Shikhar Dhawan, and to me, yeah, look, the Ducks are Ducks and they're not ideal, but to me, what I like about Shikhar Dhawan is when he gets runs, he gets big runs, which influences and impacts the outcome of a game. There's no point getting, your 40s and your 50s off, at a strike rate of 120, 125. They're not going to win your matches. What wins your matches is hundreds, if you're lucky enough to get 100 in a T20 match, or those scores that are 70 and above at a strike rate of 135 and above. And when Shikhar Dhawan has scored, he has had that impact. And his season does reflect that with the number of runs he's scored, but also the strike rate that he's had, which is over 140. So to me, I ignore those darts. He's not the only one that's got to score runs for them to have a successful campaign. Someone else has to pick up the slack on the days that he misses out. But when he does get in, he has an impact.
Criticism of Dhawan, Sanjay, has been how he goes after the power play. Today, that was perhaps Delhi's biggest challenge when Shreyas Iyer wasn't getting it away. And Dhawan ensured that at least at that point, runs still came.
Yeah, this Dhawan is a change Dhawan that we've seen. It started with him moving from Sunrisers Hyderabad to Delhi Capitals. In Sunrisers Hyderabad, he had David Warner to take care of the run rate, and he generally scored at 110. Went to Delhi Capitals and started doing the same. And then Ricky Ponting publicly actually said that he wants Shikhar Dhawan to score quickly and not worry too much about, getting out. And then you saw a spurt of scores of Dhawan in the 130, 140 strike rate region. He started a little slow this season again because Prithvi Shaw was playing so well at the top. But then, this has become his game now. I think he has started trusting this game, just like Ben Stokes said the other day, that I wish I would have batted like this right through my IPL career. I think Shikhar Dhawan has found the way to bat, and this is the way he will bat. Take more risks, hit the risky shots, try and hit the ball in the air, score at 140, 150. And I just tweeted about Shikhar Dhawan as being one of the most resilient batsmen that I've seen in my life over the years. This is not Shikhar Dhawan just of 4 or 5 years. It's been about 10, 12 years. He's been doing this in all formats, reinventing himself. For a man who started off having limited ability, he's just been brilliant. As far as highest run getters are concerned, I don't care for that too much, purely because when you look at highest run getters, they're invariably openers. And today, again, we saw how crucial certain contributions down the order were in winning the game.
Let's go to that one then. Shimron Hetmeyer's cameo. You think at the end of it, this should really be the difference, or a big score that would be the difference between the two teams. The impact of that innings, Sanjay, massive as we look at the margin of victory, just 17. Hetmeyer for you?
Absolutely, but not the player of the match today for me, because there was Stoinis who set the mood, which was very important for a team whose batting, confidence as a unit was down. So he went up the order, unfamiliar territory, and played an inning that just set them on their way. Plus bowling, I think he got 3 wickets in the end. Wasn't the greatest bowling that we've seen from a T20 bowler, but all-round contribution. And purely based on batting as well, you might be inclined to give it more to Stoinis, because his impact on that innings was greater than Shikhar Dhawan, certainly. But, Hetmeyer as well, in the end, because at the halfway stage, we said, 190 is a very good score. And that was all thanks to Hetmeyer.
It seemed like, Tom, for a player who was making his way back into the side under pressure in a big game, he was itching to get out there. You made the point of his running between the wickets. He started off with the boundary. It seemed like Hetmeyer was really in the mood today.
Yeah, look, that's his... I've seen a lot of Hetmeyer play in the Caribbean Premier League, and that's the way he plays. He's not afraid to express himself from ball one. And that's why I think a lot of us were saying that it's really important they get him back into the side, because it was that type of confidence the batting order was really missing, was someone that was prepared to express themselves and not fear failure, someone that was prepared to take the game on. I still can picture that 6 that he clubbed over cover off the back of a length. There's very few players that can play shots like that, but he takes it on knowing that, he's going to clear cover. So having a player like that come into the side was vital, and that innings, I agree, was really the difference, because their total, if they didn't reach, into that high 180s, if there was going to be a 170 total, I don't think it would have been enough on that surface.
Fair enough. Let's discuss the impact with Delhi's bowling now. And Rabada, after what was a rare off game for him, he's had a couple of those this season, getting David Warner early, Tom, and then coming back to ensure the job was done, even though Williamson's wicket had fallen then. So Rabada, big day for you again?
Yeah, brilliant day. What a cricketer he is. To have him in your side, what an asset. He's a bit like your Rashid Khans and your Bumrahs. They're rare, but if you've got one in your bowling attack, they're so valuable. I really sort of admired the wicket of Warner too, because that was a planned dismissal. They would have targeted that. They would have thought through that. If the ball's going to swing, get it full, try to get it full early to see if you can get it underneath Warner's nose. And it swung late off the pads. It was pretty much, you can guarantee that was pretty much talked about in the team meeting with regards to the planning of the first 1 or 2 balls to David Warner. Let's try to knock his stumps over with one swinging back.
Sanjay, Rabada?
Yes, I think, when you saw David Warner's reaction after he got out, and there was a certain amount of disbelief, and then, of course, respect for the ball that was bowled. But I think he was surprised by a Yorker length delivery with the new ball from Rabada. He would have expected a length ball coming back in slightly fuller, but this was right up there. So it was just brilliant. And David Warner, any batsman is vulnerable at the start. So that really put a big, dent into the hopes of Sunrisers Hyderabad. So that was the crucial wicket. And then Abdul Samad, gave a ray of hope to Sunrisers Hyderabad. He got him out as well after bowling a full toss that went for a 6. So this is a guy who runs in hard. You see him in the field as well. His commitment to the team. He loves being there. And good to see him back amongst the wickets, because he's somebody I predicted would get the most wickets this IPL season.
So that's the only reason you care about these purple caps and orange caps.
Absolutely. Selfish approach to life in everything that I do.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. That's a wrap then from coverage of qualifier number 2. Big thank you to Tom Moody as well as Sanjay Manjrekar. We will have both these fine gentlemen back for the big final. Mumbai against Delhi, the top 2 teams of the league phase, and perhaps in some ways fitting then that the 2 best teams of the league phase will contest the final. Mumbai eyeing what would be a remarkable 5th title, a successful defense of their 2019 crown, and Delhi eyeing what would be a first IPL. Who's to say they won't surprise or spoil Mumbai's party in Dubai? So do join us then on Tuesday for coverage along with Tom Moody, Sanjay Manjrekar and Gautam Gambhir on what should be a power-packed house on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket Info T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.